happening next. So we talked about these two worlds, right? So we've got this external world and we've got this internal world. Let's start with what's most familiar. The external. Let's talk about the external, because that, I went back and forth as I was writing this material, and I was thinking about, because this is life, this is life, and this is dynamic, and you can talk about any one of these things, and there's really not necessarily an order. There's all of these tools that we're going to have that we're going to be able to pull out at any given time. There's really not a script to living. I don't know. I don't have one.
Are you talking about like the facade that people put on the exterior?
No, I'm talking about the physical, touchable world. This world that we're in that has form. That was a great question. So just for clarification, that's what I'm talking about. The external world, the world that we navigate, the stuff that we can touch.
That's the external.
That's the external world. And so that's where I want you to entertain this metaphor. This is the game of life. Now, Rich, Debbie, and I host a radio show called Navigating Life, and it's on Tuesday nights from 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. And he's always talking about the game of life, and he relates it to golf. So I'm going to relate this totally different. This is totally different. This is the game of life. Like maybe it's the Monopoly of life, or it's really the game of life, or maybe it's even Chutes and Ladders. Okay, it could be anything that has a game board. And the game board is life itself. It's life, the experience. Okay, so every day that you wake up, you're in a space. Okay, and you move through the space. Everybody here in this room is in a different space. We're in the same space right now. We're in the same scene right now, and yet we all are going to leave here and go into different spaces. We're all in different spaces of our life. We're all maybe pursuing different things in our life. We're all different. And that's what life is, the game board, this big, huge 3D game board. That's what I want you to think of, okay? Now, in any other board game, how do you know who you are on the board? Right, you're token, right? You have a little game piece. I like that token though. So I was totally using game piece, but token's a good one. And now we're going to give it a better one, because now I'm going to call it an avatar. Okay? And we're all avatars. Every single one of us is an avatar. So that's the playing piece. Our human body is an avatar, and that's the game piece that we need. We need the game piece. We have to have the game piece. We have to be the avatar. We have to have the human body to be able to experience the physical world. We can't do it without it, right? Cannot do that without a body. Some kind of physicalness to us we have to have. And so I want you to start thinking of yourself as an avatar, okay? Now the thing that's kind of cool about an avatar, you can change an avatar. Avatars can change. I did once have a friend of mine, a good friend of mine asked me, should I make my avatar taller? And I thought, gosh, that was a really good question. Like, I guess you could, if you're a girl, you could put heels on. Guys, it's a little more challenging. And yet, you know what, height is a little bit different. And you can change hair color, you can put on different accessories, you can wear different clothing. It's an avatar. It's an avatar. We can do whatever we want with the avatar. And avatars, here's the thing about avatars, we have to understand how the avatar works. This is important. Because when avatars come onto the game, they don't come with a manual. When they come on scene, when they're birthed into the physical world, there's not a manual that comes with them that says, this is the operating manual. This is how it goes. So I'm going to tell you how it works, okay? The control panel for the avatar is the easiest control panel ever. The easiest control panel ever. 3 controls. 3 controls. That's it. That is it. Anybody want to guess what one of them is?
E.
Huh?
E.
No? That's not. Maybe emotion would be one of them. So feeling is one of the control panels. We can control what we feel. What else do we think we can control? Thinking. So we can control what we think, we control how we feel, and we can control what we do, our choices. Okay, that's it. After that, game over. We have a very strong tendency in this physical experience, in this external world, to control other avatars. We really try. We try to control it. We don't like your avatar. I want you to do something different. And so I'm going to try to get you to do something different. We don't have that control. It's very much like a car. People that drive on the road, right? Driving on the road. You might not like the other drivers on the road. They might be going too fast. They may be going too slow. They could be making a right turn from the left lane. This is South Florida. Okay? So anything is possible. And yet, you know what? We can't do anything about it. There's nothing that we can do about that. They're in another vehicle. Now, of course, what happens? We get all mad. We get all mad, right? How many people person that didn't let somebody in that wanted to get in and then got flipped off because of it, right? That happens to me. That happens to me. I have to say, because, I probably should. The better strategy would be to let them in. Except for I don't like them pushing their way in. So I feel like we have to have this power struggle. And so ultimately then I get flipped off. And so I came up with a new thing. Instead of flipping people off, I blow them a kiss. I'm not quite sure if that's like the best strategy, because that might antagonize people. And yet, at least it's putting out better energy. Right, it is. It's a lot better than flipping somebody off, right? So that's the same thing with an avatar, okay? The avatar, the car and the avatar are very similar in that regard. Because we can't control another car, we can control how we respond to it. We can control how the feelings that we get from the other situation. But we can't control the vehicle. Same is true with the avatar. So does everybody understand the avatar? Okay, and you understand that we're this 3D thing, we're having this physical experience, and we're moving through life, and we're using our senses, that's part of, the avatar. Our mind is part of the avatar, really needs to be under monitoring control there, especially when it comes to head trash, because the avatar is limited, okay? The avatar is limited in its ability, okay? It's limiting. It's just like a car is limited, okay? It can't do a lot of things because it's limited in what it does. So is an avatar. It can only do certain things. And different avatars have different abilities. We know this, right? Different talents. Some can sing. Not this avatar. This avatar does not sing. Well, it does, just not well. Okay? So, and we don't really have singing pipes in my family. So this avatar doesn't do that. We have all of these other things that we can do, right? So this is what we've been thinking about when we're moving through the game of life. Now, when we're going through life, of course, we roll the dice. Right? We roll the dice and it's going to take us forward, right? Sometimes, though, what happens is we have to draw a card. And it says, go back 5 spaces. Those aren't pleasant moments. Those aren't really pleasant moments, and yet they happen, right? Sometimes, if we're looking at life as if it's a game of shoots and ladders, right? We get on the game board and we climb the ladder and we get all the way to the top, and then we keep going, and all of a sudden we hear a shoot and and we're down. Sometimes we go back to start. Okay, it's going to happen. Life is dynamic. Okay, the beautiful thing is when we have tools and we have strategies, no matter where we are, we can pull out the right one. Okay, we just have to know that they exist. And here's the thing about this life experience in this game of life, is that it's paradoxical. So I can't really tell you that it's always going to be this in this moment, because sometimes it's not. How many people have ever watched Seinfeld? Do you remember the episode where George says, nothing I do works, I think whatever I decide I'm going to do the opposite? Do you remember that episode? It's kind of like that. Sometimes it's like that. It's like what our inclination is this what we're going to do? We're going to push harder, we're going to try harder, we're going to try harder. And sometimes the answer is, just let it sail. Sometimes just, let it go. Because anything that we have to try so hard to have, we're missing the boat. It's kind of like banging your head on a door, on a wall when there's a door right here. Let's walk through the door, stop banging your head against the wall. Okay, so those are things that you have to be mindful of. You got to recognize that sometimes if things are not unfolding easily, chances are we could be on the wrong path. Okay, so we have to navigate a little bit. We have to move a little bit. All right, so that's important to know. All right, so that's the external world and how we're navigating.